put your work inside your life, not the other way around. What's more important to you, your lifestyle or your work? This is a trick question. You can either determine what kind of lifestyle would you like to have and then design your work approach around it, or you can determine what kind of work approach you would like to have and then design your lifestyle around that. It's a big difference. You either live inside your work or work inside your life, depending on what comes first. It's best to determine your ideal lifestyle first and then figure out how to accomplish all your work goals around that. If you build your lifestyle around, inside your work, you will probably have a harder time disconnecting from your work at the end of the workday, which is crucial for rejuvenation and maintaining high energy. But even more importantly, one of the reasons you want to work a lot is probably because you think that success will allow you to have a great lifestyle. But chances are you can have that lifestyle right now. Also, if you don't start doing what you want to do in your life now, you may never do it. There will always be another project, another goal, another deal, another job. Don't wait for retirement to enjoy your life. Who says that you can't have both great lifestyle and be exceptionally productive? It's possible. If you decide what kind of life you want first and then design your work approach around that, it will unleash your creativity and you will eventually figure how to do that. There is almost always a way. You don't have to sacrifice everything for your work. In fact, if you do, you will likely damage your productivity in the long run. Don't undervalue the importance of happiness. The hours spent working don't count. What counts is what you accomplish inside those hours. If you are super energetic, well-rested, happy, and fulfilled, chances are you will accomplish a lot. Studies show that the typical American worker accomplishes about 2 hours worth of work inside the 8 hours he spends at work each day. If you become efficient, you can spend much less time at work and still achieve more than the average person. For example, you can have 4-day or 3-day work weeks, or you can take 4 months off every year. You would be surprised how many successful people do that. By increasing their efficiency and hourly rate, they can take a lot of time off. So, what would your ideal lifestyle look like? Think about it and write it down. Then brainstorm how you could move closer towards that vision. Even if you move just 10% closer to it compared to where you are now, you will be happier and likely more productive as well. Expected value. Expected value, or EV, is a concept from probability theory. It's extremely useful because it can help you make better decisions in daily life. It's commonly used by professional poker players, financial traders, economists, scientists, and sophisticated businessmen. The expected value of some event is its payoff times its probability. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you are working on a proposal. If the proposal is accepted, you will earn $5,000, so the payoff is $5,000. However, you think that there's only a 50% chance that the proposal will be actually accepted. As such, the expected value of this proposal is $2,500. The calculation is simple. 5,000 multiplied by 0.5. If you send the proposal, you will get, on average, $2,500. Thinking like this might not make sense intuitively at first because the deal either goes through and you get $5,000, or it doesn't go through and you get nothing. So why should you value sending the proposal at $2,500? The reason is simple. This is not the only decision you will ever make. In your life, you make decisions like this one all the time. If you make choices with a higher expected value, then overall, in the long run, you will do better than someone who chooses options with lower expected value or who doesn't think about expected value at all. The expected value of sending the proposal is $2,500, and the expected value of not sending the proposal is $0. Learn to think like that. Similar example. Let's say you can send an email that might land you a $30,000 contract. The chance that it will be accepted is only 5% though, so you think sending the email is pointless. However, if you calculate the expected value, you will see it is $1,500. Is $1,500 worth sending the email to you? If it is, it makes sense to send the email, even though there's only a small chance it will result in the $30,000 contract. If you send enough emails like this, you will get $1,500 per email on average. Now, let's say that you also have the option to make the email elaborate and include some charts. This will take you 4 hours of extra work, but you think it will double the likelihood you get the contract. So the probability goes from 5% to 10%. Now, the expected value becomes $3,000 or $1,500 more. Is $1,500 worth 4 hours of your work? If it is, it makes sense to put in the extra work. Sometimes you will make a good decision with positive expected value, and it won't work out. But if you understand the expected value concept, you will be completely fine with it. You will know that you've actually made the right decision even if it didn't work out, and that you are going to win eventually. You can calculate the expected value of just about everything. Every time you put on a helmet when riding a bike, you will prolong your life on average by a certain number of hours. Every time you buy a lottery ticket, you will lose, on average, a certain amount of money. When the expected value is much lower, 50 cents, than the price of the ticket, $1, it's a net loss. When you roll a 6-sided dice, you will get, on average, a result of 3.5, and so on. Where can you get an edge by calculating the expected value? Once you start thinking like this in your daily life, it won't be long before you start getting better results. Calculating the expected value is most useful when making deals, making financial decisions, and evaluating risk. Beware the gray zone. The gray zone is a state of mind in which you're not really focused on anything. It's a state of multitasking, distractions, mental fog, escapism, unproductive business, and stimulation seeking. Typically, you don't get much done when in this state. The gray zone is the biggest, time-sucking black hole in our lives. We, Yuri and John, are pretty sure that the gray zone took a big chunk of our lives as well. It's easy to fall into the gray zone and difficult to escape it. To escape, you need to stop for a moment, then observe yourself and what you are doing in order to realize that you're actually wasting time. Have you ever said to yourself, "Geez, what am I doing here?" Let me give you an example. Imagine the average office worker. Let's call him Bob. Bob has some work to do at his laptop. He is a hardworking fellow, so he opens his laptop in the morning and starts to work on his most important task. But since he didn't fully focus on the task right away, he thought it couldn't be a bad idea to check his email. Heck, there could be some important messages for him. He sees nothing urgent, a few work-related emails he should reply to, but he won't do that now. After all, he is working on the important task right now. While he's at it, he also goes to check the news and take a peek at what's happening on Facebook and Twitter. Bob might check some stats as well. What? Is it 10 a.m. already? He really should take a break and get his coffee fix. He drinks the coffee at his computer. That was relaxing. Now Bob is ready to start working on the important task again. Except he decides he should probably reply to those emails he didn't reply to earlier. After all, there are people waiting for his reply. While checking email, he notices a new message with a funny YouTube video. He just has to see this one. It's only 2 minutes long. And while he's at YouTube, he might as well check out a few more recommended videos. Okay, back to business. Replies are sent. Time for Bob to do some real work. He finally works on the important task. Unfortunately, before he can make any real progress, it's time for lunch. After lunch, he does some random busy tasks just to get into the working mood again. His coworker interrupts him, so he chats with her for a while and then spends the next 15 minutes daydreaming, while shuffling papers around. After that, Bob decides to check out a few of his favorite websites. I think you get the idea. Long story short, Bob spent his whole day working at his computer while getting none of his important work done. You might think that the example is absurd and extreme, but it's very real. This scenario plays out with millions of people around the world every day. This is the gray zone. According to various studies, the average office worker gets between 1.5 hours and 2.9 hours worth of real work done in the 8-hour day. The sad thing is that Bob doesn't even realize how much time he actually wasted working while not accomplishing anything. He will feel exhausted after a long day at work in the evening. From his perspective, he wasn't just wasting time, he was working. So how do you break free of the gray zone? I recommend taking a quick reality check from time to time. Are you doing what you should be doing? Even when you're in the gray zone, you will often realize that you're not working on the right task. This is your opportunity to stop, get up, reset your mental state, collect your attention, and fully refocus on the important task. You have to overcome inner excuses, though. The voice in your head might say things like, "This is important too. I still have plenty of time to do the real work. I can quickly check this, it will only take a minute, and then I can begin." Basically, you need to beware of any line of thinking or actions that postpones doing the really important work. Once you realize that you are not doing what you should be doing, the battle is half won. You are now present in reality and the mental fog dissipates. Now get up, reaffirm what you should be doing, and then begin immediately. Do the smallest step possible immediately. Open that document you need to work on and write something. Of course, anything that helps you focus and pay full attention to the task at hand will also help you stay out of the gray zone. Eliminating, or at least scheduling distractions and interruptions is important if you want to be able to focus. Tip: what you are doing when you are not doing what you should be doing is the problem. If you can make it so that you can't do the wrong thing anymore or make it difficult for yourself to do it, it can help you stop doing it and do the right thing instead. For example, you can block distracting websites or put junk food out of sight. Work on both fronts. Make the right thing easier to do and the wrong thing more difficult to do. Start with the worst. Begin with the worst task for the day. Begin with what is most difficult or what you fear the most. In the book, Get Everything Done and Still Have Time to Play, Mark Forster shares excellent insight. If you do first what you resist the most, things will get only easier from that point, and you will be completely energized by the end of the day, not drained. Attention is a precious resource. There are two kinds of focus: long-term focus and immediate focus. Both are critical to achieve our goals. The immediate short-term focus is also called attention. Today, our attention is a scarce resource, perhaps our most precious one. Corporations and media are fighting for it with all their might, and it's critical that we defend it. If our attention becomes fragmented and our mind distracted, we won't be able to put our full attention into our work and personal activities. We won't be able to make meaningful progress anymore. It is the quantity and quality of our attention that determines whether we succeed in any endeavor or not. Scattered attention is far less powerful than focused attention. For example, consider the difference between a light bulb and a laser. They both consume the same amount of energy, but a laser can cut through metal. It's the focus that makes the difference. The only way to get into the flow state is by putting our full attention to the task at hand. Think about the average office worker who has various tasks he needs to do on his computer. If he can put all his attention to the task at hand, he simply starts working, focusing on one task, finishes it, and moves on to the next task. Finishes it and moves on to the next task again, and so on until his work is finished. Every completed task brings him satisfaction from a job well done. However, if his attention is scattered, a more common scenario, he will sit in front of the computer not really focusing on anything, hopping from one thing to another, having multiple programs and windows open, his mind racing and thinking about various random things. He's very inefficient, distracted, and anxious. Which of the two workers would you rather be? By the way, multitasking is an illusion. You can't really be working on two things at the same time. When you attempt to do multiple things at once, your mind rapidly switches from one thing to the other one. Unfortunately, this is extremely inefficient. In fact, it has a similar effect as lowering your IQ by 10 points. If you try to do multiple tasks at once, you will do a poor job and it will take longer as compared to putting your full attention to the one task at hand until it's finished, then moving on to the next one. There's an old saying, "He who chases 2 rabbits catches none." Today, many people are chasing 10 rabbits. Guess how that's going to work out for them? You can increase your productivity by reclaiming and guarding your attention, by thinking about it as a valuable resource and putting it fully to the task at hand until it's finished. Finishing things one by one will also make you happier than having a lot of work-in-progress projects on your plate. Tip: when working on mentally demanding tasks, it's beneficial to take a break every 60 to 90 minutes. When you finish working on something, restart your focus and mind, change the channel, so to speak. Go for a walk, eat a snack, play a musical instrument, or do some quick exercise. Switch to a completely different mode for a while and stop thinking about work. After the quick break, you will be ready to tune into the next task and focus on it fully. Tip: you can schedule your interruptions. Most interruptions are not important. Example, someone gets an idea and calls you impulsively. If you make it so that people can't interrupt you much, they will figure out how to solve the problem by themselves. You don't have to solve it for them. Say to the world, "I am not interested in being interrupted, except in this brief time frame, 4 to 5 p.m. Remember that just because a phone is ringing, it doesn't mean it must be answered. When someone messages you because he is bored, you don't have to drop your focus and start chatting with him. How to improve your focus and attention. There are several powerful ways to improve your focus. Elimination of distractions. Instant notifications of any kind, cluttered desk, cluttered computer desktop, Open software that you don't need, constant checking of email or social media, checking of news sites, all that devastates your productivity. Eliminating the sources of distractions has huge positive effects on your focus. Just close and put away everything that you don't need for the task at hand. Elimination of interruptions. Too many people walking in on you, too many phone calls, too many instant messages and notifications. You can almost always eliminate these interruptions by instructing others to use email instead. Simply tell people that if it's not an emergency, you prefer email contact. Second, establish do not disturb times and explain to others that during these times you work on important projects and do not wish to be disturbed. Use time boxing techniques such as Pomodoro. In case you have never heard of it, Pomodoro technique is a simple productivity technique with a kitchen timer. It's called Pomodoro because Pomodoro means tomato in Italian, and many kitchen timers are shaped like a tomato. Pomodoro works like this. You get any kind of timer, set it for 25 minutes and work. During the 25 minutes, you focus 100% just on the task at hand. Once the time is up, you take a short break and schedule another block. The original Pomodoro technique is 25 minutes work with 5 minutes break, and every 4 Pomodoros earn a larger 20-minute break. You can use any time interval you want. I, Yuri, personally like to use 50 minutes work, 10 minutes break, stretching, water, 50 minutes work, and 30 minutes break, short brisk walk and a small meal. This practice keeps my energy high during the day. Meditation. Meditation is pure focus. It is the perfect attention training, but it has also many other benefits. For instance, research shows that meditation permanently increases your level of happiness. A study at the University of Wisconsin by Richard Davidson, a psychologist who has practiced meditation for decades, confirmed that meditation can alter brain structure, increase your empathy, even make you look healthier and more approachable, and it's free. Consider making meditation a daily habit. Even 5 minutes of meditation a day will give you significant positive results in 30 days. You will notice that you can focus much better and longer and that your mind is not racing around so much. Meditating is easy. Just focus on your breathing and try to keep your mind clear. If any thought emerges, gently discard it and refocus on your breathing. Don't waste your willpower. Think of willpower as the fuel you burn to keep yourself doing the right things. Much like the fuel for your car, you can burn all your willpower. When you have no willpower left, it will be impossible to do anything that demands it. Fortunately, unlike gasoline, your willpower regenerates when you rest. It's completely restored when you sleep, but you can also restore it during the day by doing anything relaxing or fun that feels empowering. We will burn willpower when we perform complex cognitive tasks, make decisions, moderate our social behavior, and overcome resistance to difficult work. By adding habits into your life, you can reclaim a significant amount of your willpower. Actions performed habitually don't cost us virtually any willpower as compared to actions that we have to accomplish using sheer willpower. Every time you perform a non-habitual action, you have to decide if and when to do it. This costs willpower. It's best to turn all activities that you do often into habits. This practice will eliminate a lot of unnecessary decision-making, which is taxing on your willpower. Some artists have a personal manager to make the most of the decisions for them. The manager isn't hired merely for the artist's comfort. The artist is simply delegating most of her decision-making to someone else, so she's still capable of doing her craft instead of being mentally exhausted. You have the most willpower early in the morning. Schedule the most important activities and new habits early in the day. The meta habit is a powerful and simple way of introducing habits into your life. Tip: to recharge your willpower, eat a banana, an apple, or a protein bar, go for a walk, take a nap, take a shower, or exercise for a while. Taking a walk and eating a small meal are scientifically proven ways of recharging your willpower. Tip: whenever you notice that you are doing something silly, inefficient, or wrong, stop. Stop yourself for a moment and say aloud or write down what's happening. Then recharge your willpower. Get up and walk for a while, eat something small, and get back on track. Don't be persistent on the means, but on the outcome. Let's say that you want to dig a big hole in the ground. If you are persistent on the means and start digging the hole using a spoon, it will take you a year. However, if you are flexible, then when a colleague suggests to you to use a shovel instead, You will do so, and you will finish digging the hole in just a few days. Of course, this example is ridiculous. Everyone knows that shovel is better than a spoon for digging a hole. However, in the world of business, technology, and personal efficiency, it's not always obvious what's the spoon and what's the shovel. Keep your eyes open for new approaches and better ways of doing things. Be persistent on your goal, but not on the tools and means that allow you to achieve it. Ponder this. Where in your life are you possibly digging with a spoon? Where are you possibly rejecting advice to use a shovel?